Hello all, this video is for all of you out there who have just had a buyer or a seller for a HDB, and or you are a new RES that just came on board and would like to dive into the HDB market. My name is Jackson B. I've been in the industry for about 3.5 years, and I serve a number of HDB buyers and sellers that mainly focus on asset progression. Now today we're going to dive in straight into serving sellers and what are the preparation work involved before meeting them, during meeting them, and putting up into the market. So there are 3 areas that we're going to focus on. Number 1, preparation work. Number 2, we're going to look at how to put the HDB up to market. And number 3, we're going to discuss about procedures and timeline. Okay, so the first and foremost step of serving a seller is to actually get their full address. Now this involves their block number, their unit number, and most importantly, the floor area size. Now if you can't find the floor area, what we can actually do is there are 2 ways. One, you actually go into the HProp research or square foot to actually look at what are the unit numbers and how they are parallel, maybe it's upstairs or downstairs, and you get an estimation of that floor area. And if you don't find the remaining lease on all these different research portals, then what we can do is to go into HDB map services and extract the remaining lease from there. Now, why is this important? Because the next step we're going to cover is to actually look into the valuation of this particular HDB, and that is the information required when you speak to the banks. So this is one of the areas or portals that we can actually get more information about the HDB. So just to give you an example, now we're now in square foot powered by HProp, and right over here in the information list, we are able to find out that, hey, this is the remaining lease of the HDB. So this HDB is now at 38 years old. So we have about 61 years remaining lease. Now, if you can get the full address of the particular area which you have already did, this is an estimation of the floor area that you can actually extract if the seller does not give you that full information. So this is a little bit of research work that will help you in the next step where you're going to get the bank indicative value. Alright, for the alternative method to find what is the remaining lease of a particular HDB is to Google HDB map services. We'll come to this website which I'm showing you right here on my iPad, and then we insert the postal code over here, and then the particular HDB will appear. So you see a lot of HDB blocks within this particular map itself, and then we will zero in on the one that you want. So simply click on one of these HDB icons, and over here you realize, hey, straight away the lease start date would actually show, and the lease duration, and what's the remaining lease. This will also allow you to do a quick check whether the seller has already reached their MOP or not. But the next most important step is to get a bank indicative value. So do note there are only 2 banks in the market that actually offer this service. So they are UOB and DBS. Now here's the information that you need to provide them to get the bank indicative value. So here goes: full address together with unit number, postal code, the estimated size of the HDB, the HDB type, whether it's 2-room, 3-room, 4-room, 5-room, executive apartment, executive mansionette, and then the last one is the remaining lease. So we need this information, send it to the banker, and it will give you an indicative value. I think the next question you have in mind is, where do you find all these mortgage bankers? Now, the most direct way is that you can ask around in your group chat that are there any bankers dealing with HDB or specializing in HDB that can be recommended to you. Number 2, you can actually meet some of these bankers at project launches or project events. And the third thing is, within your own network, actually you can ask around to see if there are any bankers who can provide you such services. The next thing that you can expect the seller to actually ask you is that what is their price of that they can sell their HDB. Now here's some research work that you can actually do to find out those information. So first we're going to go into this same HDB map services, and then we click on housing information, and we realize that I have an example here about the resale prices of the HDB flat over here. So 5-room in August 2021 was about 650,000, and then in June last year was about 565,000. So that actually gives you an indicative idea about what is the potential sale price of this HDB. You can see that there's also a click more here, and it allows you to do further research as to which is floor it is, what's the size, what's the remaining lease that is for this HDB flat, and when was it transacted. Alright, next I'm going to show you how to actually do a comparative market analysis. That is, what are the different competitor price around the block itself and within the block itself. So one of the ways we can do it is to go to the HDB map services again, and we scroll down. You can see over here resale transactions within 200 meters of this block. Okay, so we click on it and we select last 12 months, and you're serving a seller, so you click on seller and you search. So you realize you get a range of data over here that allows you to find out what are the potential selling prices of the other HDB flats, same unit type within the area. Okay, so the next thing that we also need to do is do a research of what are the available units in the market. So we go to Property Guru and we go to the block itself. Now when you come to the block itself, type in the full address, and what I would recommend is over at the filter, click price lowest to highest, and then you do an analysis search on what is the lowest price offer within the same block and what is the highest price asking price within the same block itself. This will give you an idea what are your competitor prices. Now, besides going to Property Guru, you can also choose to go to 99.co and do the same search. What is the highest asking price and what's the lowest asking price within the block itself? And if you scroll down, you realize that the app would have a recommendation within like 400 meters or within 200 meters of what are the available stock within that same area. So that allows you to do a little bit more research, to dive in deeper, to find out what are your competitor prices that are in the neighborhood. Now, after you've gathered all the information, is to look at what is the fair market price. Now, I've come up with an example. So we go to the HDB map services for a 5-room HDB flat. Now, the past transactions have shown us that it's between 680 to 690,000. So the average is about 685. We did a research also on what are the asking prices in Property Guru and 99.co, and we found out it is an average of 715,000 and or 710,000. But the most important thing that will give you a very good guide is the bank value. Now, the bankers came back to you and say, hey, this particular HDB flat right now is valued at 690,000. Now you realize that the bank value and the last transaction that was recorded in the HDB caveats is very close. So this is probably how you can determine what is a fair market price to transact at. Now, these asking prices are the two prices that you can advise the seller on how to position in terms of their asking prices within the market portals. Now, after analyzing all this data, what I would recommend the customer, which is the seller, is to market at 700,000. Now, you're probably going to ask, hey, why is it higher than the bank value as well as the last transacted price? Now, within this particular sentiments in the market where the supply for ready HDB flats, especially the ones with a larger floor area and or floor plate, is low in supply. So it's fair to actually quote a higher price or ask a higher price in the marketplace. But most importantly, when it comes to the why 700,000 would be, we're not too far off from the bank value and the last transacted caveats in the HDB website, so that you can ensure that the buyer who is coming to purchase will be able to get the adequate amount of loan, and most importantly, the chances for a cash over valuation, COV, are actually minimized. This ensures a very smooth transaction for the seller as well as for the buyer. We've just gone through the entire preparation phase for how and what are the things to do before meeting the HDB seller. I think what's on most of your minds right now is, okay, Jackson, so how to market that HDB? We're going to cover that in the next training video, so do stay tuned. Just do bear in mind this entire video is not a marketing video, which is usually a short 1 to 3 minutes. Rather, it is a training video, which I hope will be helpful and useful for you when you're preparing to meet a HDB seller. Stay tuned in the next video. We'll catch you up there.